Hello and welcome to the next lecture. Now that we have got a handle on what version control is, in this lesson we will sign up for a GitHub account, navigate around the GitHub website to become familiar with some of its features, and install and configure Git, all in preparation for linking both with your RStudio. As we previously learned, GitHub is a cloud-based management system for your version control files like Dropbox. Your files are both locally on your computer and hosted online and easily accessible. Its interface allows you to manage version control and provides users with a web-based interface for creating projects, sharing them, updating code, etc. To get a GitHub account, first go to the GitHub website. You will be brought to their homepage where you should fill in your information, make a username, put in your email, choose a secure password and click sign up for GitHub. In this way your account for GitHub will be created and now you can use it. You should now be logged in to GitHub. In the future, to log on to GitHub, go to GitHub website where you will be presented with the homepage. If you are not already logged in, click on the sign in link at the top. Once you have done that, you will see the login page where you will enter in your username and password that you created earlier. Once logged in, you will be back at GitHub website, but this time the screen should look like this. We are going to take a quick tour of the GitHub website and we will particularly focus on these sections of the interface: user settings, notifications, help files, and the GitHub guide. Following this tour, we will make your first repository using the GitHub guide. Now that you have logged on to GitHub, we should fill out some of your profile information and get acquainted with the account settings. In the upper right corner, there is an icon with an arrow beside it. Click this and go to your profile. This is where you control your account from and can view your contribution histories and repositories. Since you are just starting out, you are not going to have any repositories or contributions yet, but hopefully we will change that soon enough. What we can do right now is edit your profile. Go to edit profile along the left hand edge of the page. Here, take some time and fill out your name and a little description of yourself in the bio box. And if you like, upload a picture of yourself. When you are done, click update profile. Along the left hand side of this page, there are many options for you to explore. Click through each of these menus to get familiar with the options available to you. To get you started, go to the account page. Here you can edit your password, or if you are unhappy with your username, change it. Be careful though. There can be unintended consequences when you change your username. If you are just starting out and don't have any content yet, you will probably be safe though. Continue looking through the personal setting account on your own. When you are done, go back to your profile. Once you have had a bit more experience with GitHub, you will eventually end up with some repositories to your name. To find those, click on the repositories link on your profile. For now, it will probably look like this. By the end of the lecture though, check back to this page to find your newly created repository. Next, we will check out the notifications menu. Along the menu bar across the top of your window, there is a bell icon representing your notifications. Click on the bell. Once you become more active on GitHub and are collaborating with others, here is where you can find messages and notifications for all the repositories, teams, and conversations you are part of. Along the bottom of every single page, there is a help button. GitHub has a great help system in place. If you ever have a question about GitHub, this should be your first point to search. Take some time now and look through the various help files and see if anyone catch your eye. GitHub recognizes that this can be an overwhelming process for new users and as such have developed a mini tutorial to get you started with GitHub. Go through this guide now and create your first repository. When you are done, you should have a repository that looks something like this. Take some time to explore around the repository. Check out your commit history so far. Here you can find all of the changes that have been made to the repository and you can see who made the change, when they made the change, and provided you wrote an appropriate commit message, you can see why they made the change. It should look like similar to this. Once you have explored all of the options in the repository, go back to your user profile, it should look a little different from before. Now when you are on your profile, you can see your latest repository created, and for a complete listing of your repositories, click on the repositories tab. Here you can see all of your repositories, a brief description, the time of the last edit, and along the right hand side there is an activity graph showing when and how many edits have been made on the repository. Now, as you may remember from our last lecture, Git is the free and open source version control system which GitHub is built on. One of the main benefits of using the Git system is its compatibility with RStudio. However, in order to link the two software together, we first need to download and install Git on your computer. To download Git, go to Git's website. You should arrive at the web page like this. Link will be provided in the blog post. Click on the appropriate download link for your operating system. This should initiate the download process. Once the download is finished, open the .exe file to initiate the installation wizard. If you receive a security warning, click Run and or Allow. Following this, click through the installation wizard, generally accepting the default options unless you have a compelling reason not to. Click Install and allow the wizard to complete the installation process. Following this, check the Launch Git Bash option, and unless you are curious, deselect the View Release Notes box, as you are probably not interested in this right now. Doing so, a command line environment will open, provided you accepted the default options during the installation process. There will now be a Start menu shortcut to launch Git Bash in the future. You have now installed Git. Now we will walk you through the most common installation process. However, there are multiple ways to get Git onto your Mac. You can follow the tutorials at Atlassian Git tutorials for alternative installation routes. Link will be provided for this in our blog post. After downloading the appropriate Git version for Macs, you should have downloaded a DMG file for installation on your Mac. Open this file. This will install Git on your computer. A new window will open. Double click on the .pkg file and an installation wizard will open. Click through the options, accepting the defaults. Click Install. When prompted, close the installation wizard. You have successfully installed Git. Now that Git is installed, we need to configure it for use with GitHub in preparation for linking it with RStudio. We need to tell Git what your username and email are so that it knows how to name each commit as coming from you. To do so, in the command prompt, either git bash for Windows or terminal for Mac, type git config --global space user.name and in commas your username. Just like in slides, with your desired username in place of John Doe. This is the name each commit will be tagged with. Following this, in the command prompt, type git config space --global space user.email, and now make sure to use the same email address you signed up with for GitHub. At this point, you should be set for the next step, but just to check, confirm your changes by typing git space config space --list. Doing so, you should see the username and email you selected above. If you noticed any problems or want to change these values, just retype the original config commands from earlier with your desired changes. Once you are satisfied that your username and email is correct, exit the command line by typing exit and hit enter. At this point, you are all set up for the next lecture. So in this lesson, we signed up for a GitHub account and toured the GitHub website. We made your first repository and filled in some basic profile information on GitHub. Following this, we installed Git on your computer and configured it for compatibility with GitHub and RStudio. In the next lecture, we will link your Git and GitHub with the RStudio. So see you in the next lesson.